In World War II, America did not begin the fight in Europe. It began far out at sea, before American soldiers ever landed on foreign shores. German aircraft were already hunting U.S. ships, tracking convoys, guiding submarines, and striking the lifeline of the Allied war effort. From the frozen Atlantic to the skies over Germany, from brutal dogfights to the world's first jet aircraft. This is the story of how German aviation challenged American air power and why it ultimately failed. This is Wings of the Reich, the air war that decided America's victory in the skies. The first shadow over the Atlantic, 1941 to 1942. German long-range aircraft versus American shipping and coastlines. When the United States entered World War II in late 1941, the Atlantic Ocean immediately became a frontline battlefield. For years, German naval and air forces had been refining a strategy to sever the vital supply line between North America and Europe. Now, with American industry fully committed to the Allied war effort, German long-range aircraft were given a critical mission: locate, harass, and destroy U.S. shipping before it could reach Europe. In this struggle, aircraft were more than weapons. They became the eyes, ears, and striking arm of Germany's Atlantic War. The most important of these aircraft was the Focke-Wulf WW2 Condor. Flying at extreme range, the Condor patrolled vast areas of the Atlantic where Allied air cover was weak or completely absent. Its greatest contribution was reconnaissance. By spotting American convoys and radioing their positions to waiting U-boats, the FW200 directly enabled submarine attacks that sank hundreds of thousands of tons of shipping. When the opportunity arose, the Condor also struck on its own, bombing lightly defended merchant vessels and spreading fear across the sea lanes. Supporting this role was the Heinkel He-111H, a proven medium bomber adapted for anti-shipping warfare. Operating from bases in occupied Europe, He-111 crews carried out low-level attacks against convoys, using bombs and torpedoes to strike escort ships and cargo vessels alike. Though slower and more vulnerable than newer aircraft, the He-111 remained effective due to its reliability and the experience of its crews. The Junkers Ju-88A added speed and flexibility to German operations. Faster than most Allied fighters early in the war, the Ju-88 served as both a bomber and a long-range reconnaissance aircraft. Its ability to locate convoys quickly, strike, and withdraw made it especially valuable during the critical months of 1941 and 1942, when American defenses were still poorly coordinated. Equally important, though less visible, was the Blohm and Voss BV-138 flying boat. Spending long hours over open water, it conducted maritime patrols and shadowed convoys far beyond the reach of land-based aircraft. Its endurance made it a vital link between German air power and U-boat operations, ensuring constant pressure on American shipping routes. Completing this aerial threat was the Dornier Do-217E, a heavier bomber designed to carry larger bomb loads against naval targets. Its use signaled Germany's growing emphasis on destroying Allied shipping through coordinated, large-scale strikes rather than isolated attacks. Hunting the convoys, the Luftwaffe versus the U.S. Navy. Air power in the Battle of the Atlantic. As the Battle of the Atlantic intensified, German air power became a critical extension of the Kriegsmarine. Luftwaffe bombers and patrol aircraft worked closely with U-boats to locate American supply convoys, track their movements, and strike at their most vulnerable moments. Each aircraft type played a specific and essential role in this deadly system. The Focke-Wulf FW200C, 3, and C-4 Condor remained the most feared aircraft in the early Atlantic War. Its long range allowed it to patrol far beyond Allied air cover. More than a bomber, it served as an airborne scout, guiding U-boats to their targets. Even limited bombing attacks caused panic and disruption among poorly defended convoys. The Junkers Ju-290A expanded Germany's ability to observe the ocean war. With exceptional range and endurance, it monitored American shipping routes and naval task forces. Its primary role was reconnaissance, ensuring U-boats and surface raiders were guided with precision rather than chance. The Heinkel He-177A Greif represented Germany's attempt to introduce true heavy bomber power into naval warfare. Capable of carrying large bomb loads, it was intended to strike heavily escorted convoys and major naval targets. Though plagued by technical problems, its presence forced the U.S. Navy to strengthen air defenses around convoys. The Dornier Do-24 flying boat specialized in long-duration maritime patrols. Operating for hours over open water, it shadowed convoys and reported American naval movements. Its ability to land on rough seas also made it valuable for reconnaissance and rescue missions. Finally, the Arado AR-196, launched from German warships, acted as a forward scout for surface raiders. It searched for enemy vessels, identified targets, and directed naval attacks, serving as a vital link between air and sea operations. Fortress Europe, facing the U.S. Army Air Forces, defending the Reich from American bombers. When the U.S. Army Air Forces began their daylight bombing campaign over occupied Europe and Germany, the skies became a deadly battlefield. Massive formations of B-17 flying fortresses and B-24 liberators pushed deep into the Reich, and the Luftwaffe responded with every interceptor it could deploy. The Messerschmitt Bf 109G and K variants formed the backbone of German air defense. Fast, agile, and heavily armed, they climbed rapidly to meet American bombers at high altitude. Pilots relied on hit-and-run tactics, firing into bomber formations before diving away to avoid escort fighters. The Focke-Wulf FW-190A was built for brute force. Armed with heavy cannons and rockets, it was designed to shatter tight bomber formations. Its rugged construction allowed it to absorb damage while delivering devastating firepower against U.S. bombers. The Messerschmitt Bf 110G, originally intended as a long-range escort fighter, was adapted as a bomber interceptor. Equipped with heavy forward-firing weapons, it attacked from outside the range of defensive guns, aiming to cripple bombers before American escorts could intervene. The Messerschmitt Me 410 improved on earlier twin-engine designs. With higher speed and powerful cannons, it was intended to destroy bombers in a few concentrated attacks, making it especially dangerous during frontal engagements. The Junkers Ju-88C and G variants served as versatile day and night fighters. Reliable and adaptable, they intercepted bombers under a wide range of conditions, often operating when other aircraft could not. The daylight slaughter, Luftwaffe versus U.S. strategic bombing. The war above Germany. As American daylight bombing intensified in 1943 and 1944, the skies over Germany became some of the most lethal airspace in history. Waves of U.S. bombers pressed toward industrial targets, while German fighters rose to meet them in brutal, close-range combat. The Focke-Wulf FW-198/R8 was heavily armored and armed with powerful cannons, designed to punch directly through bomber formations. Some pilots flew it almost like a battering ram, closing in at point-blank range before breaking away under intense defensive fire. The Messerschmitt Bf 109G-6 remained the Luftwaffe's most numerous interceptor. Its strong climb rate allowed it to reach bomber altitude quickly. Armed with heavy nose-mounted cannons, it attacked head-on, maximizing damage in seconds-long firing passes. The Messerschmitt Me 410A-1/U2, equipped with massive cannons, was designed to destroy bombers from long range. It aimed to stay outside defensive gunfire while delivering devastating strikes. The Junkers Ju-87D and G, originally dive bombers, were used in desperate anti-bomber roles despite their vulnerability, an indication of the extreme pressure facing German air defenses. The Heinkel He-219 Uhu, though primarily a night fighter, occasionally flew daylight interception missions. Its advanced design and heavy armament reflected Germany's technological ambition even as defeat loomed. Night War, the hidden battle against American bombers. As the air war expanded into darkness, a hidden struggle unfolded. American bombers increasingly relied on night operations, but Germany responded with radar-guided fighters and a sophisticated ground control network. The Heinkel He-219A became Germany's most advanced purpose-built night fighter, capable of locating bombers in complete darkness. The Junkers Ju-88G-6 formed the backbone of night defense, combining endurance with powerful radar and armament. The Dornier Do-217J and N variants provided heavy firepower against bomber streams. The Messerschmitt Bf-110G4, equipped with upward-firing cannons, attacked bombers from below with deadly effect. The Focke-Wulf Ta-154 Mosquito, built largely from wood, represented innovation under extreme pressure. Africa and the Mediterranean, German aircraft versus American forces. Desert skies and Allied landings. When American forces entered the war in North Africa in 1942, they encountered German air power in one of the most challenging environments of the conflict. The vast deserts, coastal waters, and mountainous terrain of North Africa and Italy became proving grounds where German aircraft directly challenged U.S. troops, ships, and supply lines. Control of the skies shifted constantly, and air power played a decisive role in the ground campaign. The Messerschmitt Bf-109F and G variants served as the Luftwaffe's primary frontline fighters in the region. Agile, fast, and deadly in skilled hands, they fought American fighters for air superiority while also strafing ground targets. Their ability to operate from rough, forward airfields made them well-suited for the fluid nature of desert warfare. The Junkers Ju-87 Stuka became a feared weapon against American ground forces. Its precision dive bombing allowed it to strike tanks, artillery positions, and troop concentrations with remarkable accuracy. Although increasingly vulnerable to Allied fighters, the Stuka's psychological impact on inexperienced U.S. troops was significant during the early stages of the campaign. The Junkers Ju-88A and D variants provided flexibility as both bombers and reconnaissance aircraft. They attacked American positions, ports, and airfields while also gathering intelligence on troop movements.